You're now tuning in to the Ambitious Views podcast, where we share unique perspectives on storytelling within film and television from the past, present, and future. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So let's get to it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ambitious Views podcast. We are your great hosts. I'm going to send it over to the great homie, the one and only.
Blaze, what's up, Corrigan? How are you? How's your day? How's your week? How's your month?
Uh, I'm, phew, um, um, yeah, it's been cool. It's
Okay.
been all right. Been very busy. Had a really great turnout for a conference. I hosted at the school for the program that I'm over, and actually got to have Matthew Cherry come and be the keynote speaker, who is over, who created Hair Love, the short film and the children's book. And so we really had a great conversation. It was fireside chat and everything. So it was a lot of fun. It was busy, a lot of ripping and running,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a lot of fun. So, but yeah, but overall, it's been pretty cool. Just trying to make it out here in these educated streets. How about you?
Things are going well, like it's been busy sometimes some days and then some days not as busy. But for the most part, it's been good.
Yeah.
Been dealing with, weather in the States. And so
Woo.
last week we was flooded in and threats of tornadoes and all of that. So that was kind of stressful. Hopefully, we're done with that season for this
Man.
year, for the rest of my life.
You know what they say, April showers, you know. So,
Right, right.
man,
But, we survived at the end of the day. We survived.
yeah, I feel you on that because shoot, man, like every time you turn around this past weekend, rain, 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 thunder, 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 crackle pop, you know what I'm saying? So, did you
Right.
see where somebody was like jet skiing
I
on the
did.
highway?
I did. At first, I didn't believe it until I saw the live video of it. And I was like, wow, only in Arkansas.
Yes, only in Arkansas. Like, yeah, we have beach vibes. We just bring it on the highway, you
Right,
know.
because my first thought was like, why do you even have a jet ski?
Yes, yes, man.
Like, I know
That
you're not going to the lake in Hot Springs on the jet
exactly.
ski.
Exactly. Exactly. I guess that's where he was on his way to. He's like, nah, I'm gonna get it done right here.
Right. I mean, why not?
Right. Exactly. So, but welcome everybody back to another episode. As I said, we have a very interesting, um, or I guess you could say a very intriguing episode today. The episode is called "The Crisis of Classic Movies." And so we're going to get a little bit deeper into that later on. But of course, we got to pop it off with our What Is This segment, where pretty much we name a person, place, or thing of some type of commonality, if that's even a word, to it. And basically, we have to take turns guessing what movie or TV show that's associated with. All right. So, Blaze, it is my turn to get into it.
Mhm.
And I
Let's see if you
hope
can
that you're
stump me.
ready. I
I stay
hope.
ready. I ain't never got to get ready.
Mm, okay. All right. So we talking about classic films. So I'm already giving you a hint. Okay. We're
Okay.
talking about classic films today, or what we consider classic films, because of course, that's case by case base. But
Mm-hmm.
so here we go. All right. So it's gonna be people,
Okay.
and I'm gonna do their actual names because I
Okay.
do feel like this is easy. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna
Easy to
go
you.
easy to me. Okay. All right. This is true. But I think you got it. I think you got it. All right. So
We'll
the
see.
first one is Leonard Roberts. Right. Then you got Jason Weaver. And then you got Orlando Jones. What TV or movie do they have in common?
Okay.
You said what?
Okay, you said Jason Weaver. Who are the
Yep.
other two people?
Leonard Roberts and Orlando Jones.
I
What
think I
TV
might be.
or movie do you got? What you got? What you got?
Is it a TV or is it a movie show?
Ah,
Is it a TV show or a movie? I said, is it a movie show?
I guess the giveaway, since we're talking about classic films, it is a movie. I will say that.
The Lion King?
Final answer?
Yes.
It is Drumline.
Jason Weaver. Jason Weaver was in Drumline.
Yep. Yep. Because he was
See what
he was joining the band fraternity.
Jason Weaver was throwing me off. I forgot he was in Drumline.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Drumline. Classic.
That is a classic. I actually haven't seen that in a minute.
Man, I used to burn it out when
I
I
did
was
too.
a
We used to own the DVD for it.
us too. It used to be that same cadence running over and over and over until you press play. And one time I remember, I think I fell asleep in the living room. It was like do 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 do
Hmm.
do 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 do.
One band, one
One
sound.
sound. Man,
Hmm.
drumline, y'all. Well, Blaze, you tried, but you didn't conquer this time, and I took
I
it easy.
didn't.
So, but all
Gotta
right,
remember it.
what's on your watch list?
I haven't been watching very much.
I feel you on that.
I finally watched the movie with SZA and Kiki Palmer one of them
Mhm.
days, and
Okay.
it was good. It was
Yeah.
good. I really
Yeah.
liked the script.
Mhm.
SZA, I think this was her acting debut, and she did a really good job.
Okay.
Kiki, as always, was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a nice new age buddy comedy movie, and so I'm
Yeah.
interested to see if like they'll do a second one, if like the thought process is to kind of make this like the female Friday.
Mm,
I wonder if they'll do like a second one of them
yeah.
days again, or something like that. Or if it's not one thing, it's another. And if they name the next movie that, I want my money.
I want my money.
Or at least my
It's
credit. But I
right.
really enjoyed it. It's definitely a movie that like I can see myself like rewatching as like a passive watch. Um and then of course, I keep up with my reality TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I started watching Vanderpump Rules, which is on
Mm-hmm.
Bravo. Actually, I
Okay.
started this week on it. Um I've heard about it for a while, but I never wanted to watch it because I'm just not very like I'm not a big fan of reality shows that take place in a workplace because I'm
Yeah.
like, that's weird.
Yeah.
How can you create a reality show and like be yourself, but then you're also in your workplace? Because there are things that you shouldn't do
Right. Right.
while
Right.
you're at work.
Yeah.
But I watched after I finished Southern Charm, I watched Southern Hospitality. And I was like,
Mm,
okay, I think I'll give Vanderpump I'll give it a try because I enjoy Southern Hospitality because it also shows like their life outside of their workplace. And so it's kind of like a usual reality show. So it's just a nice little passive watch to have on whenever I'm getting some work done and I want like some background noise.
yeah. Yeah. I feel you on that. Yeah. Most definitely. That's dope. Yeah. One of them days is definitely on our watch list. Just haven't jumped on it. Like I said, it's been pretty busy on our end and everything, and just trying to figure out like what works for us and everything. And plus, we still like I thought we was gonna be almost done with Dragon Ball Z, but there's a lot more episodes in this particular arc than I realized. So we took a little break, but the plan is to hopefully be able to get back into it pretty soon. Like I said, it's just been a little bit busy, and then pretty much I feel like I'm gonna be going. Well, I don't feel like it. I know I'm gonna be going it all the way leading up to our vacation and stuff like that. So, but
Okay,
all
vacation.
that, yeah, definitely needed. Hadn't been on one in almost 2 years. It's been a long time, very long
Long
time.
time coming.
Yes. But as far as me, like I said, we haven't watched as much either. We did get to watch Moana 2. We popped that on and I really enjoyed it. And I will honestly say either it's tit for tat or I may have enjoyed it a little bit more than the first one. I feel like it kind of stands in its own lane in a sense, just because it's like it's not as it's not as music heavy as traditionally most Disney films are.
That's because they didn't
Um,
have William Wazell again.
uh, I mean, possibly, but I really just liked how it was a little bit of music, which was good music, but it was more heavy on the actual story. And I just really liked it. And I liked the way it ended. It said a lot, and I'm definitely interested to see what will be coming next. I do feel like it'll possibly be at least a Moana 3. But at the
Mhm.
same time, we are supposed to be getting a live action Moana, I believe, next year. If not next year, 2027.
Yeah, I think they're
So,
already done filming it.
oh, okay. Which I don't know. I mean, I know that The Rock is gonna be,
Yeah, he's
playing,
in
playing in it again, but it's just like seeing a live action version. I'm just interested to see how it's gonna look. Um,
it. Yeah.
that's my biggest thing because sometimes I feel like that's the hardest thing transitioning from something that's supposed to be so animated and playful and all this stuff like that and just very surreal to like you know just everyday life, you know what I'm saying? So
Well, my apprehension about it is like let the cartoon movie sit for some years, like
yeah,
let's let this generation cherish that first. And
yeah,
then, 10 or so years down the line, then do a live action, kind of like how we got the opportunity to cherish Lion King, cherish Little Mermaid and stuff. And now we're getting the live actions.
exactly, yeah. I definitely get that too. I was surprised that they want to go so fast. I mean, want to produce so fast with a live action,
Mhm.
but with the performance of the Snow White film, even though I know there was more to that,
Yeah.
I am interested to see how much more they're going to be producing because I feel like I came across a TikTok that was talking about what else there was in pre-production or something like that, but they decided to step back from it. But I
Mhm.
forgot what film it was. So, but yeah, I am interested. Maybe it's one of those things that they go a totally different direction because that's my thing too. Are you going to retell the first Moana, or is this going to be a brand new story?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
a
that's
big
a good
yeah.
point. Yeah.
That's because like I said, if you already getting the live action right after, not too far from the animated film, the first one,
Mhm.
like I said, it's just very interesting. And I guess like numbers wise, I'm interested in how that works when, you know, how does that work versus animated film and how much money you get out of it. I don't know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
I'll add
yeah,
it to my watch list for when I get Disney Plus back in December.
well, other than that, like I said, we haven't really been watching much. And I will be honest, I did get to get Assassin's Creed Shadows um, right
So
when
you
it
be
dropped out.
gaming.
Yeah, oh yeah, I've been in it. I've tried my best to not do as much because I don't want to get too caught up in it when I know I need to get this film done. But
Right.
I've definitely
People
been
want to see
gracefully
it.
taking my time. Would you say?
I said right because the people want to see it.
Yes, the people want to see the people station, so
Amen.
so yeah, so I've been, grinding with that. And then also Blaze. for like some little stuff self study, I actually bought my first manga,
Okay.
and I got Fire Punch,
Okay. Have you
and
started reading it?
I finished it within a week.
Okay, look at you. Okay,
I
we
feel
you're a reader this year for real. I see.
yes.
Welcome to the club.
You should be proud of me, Blaze.
I actually am proud of you.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Reading is
But
so fun.
mhm. But yeah, so highly recommend it. As we said, as you all know, we talk about anime, but kind of interesting to possibly, write my own manga one day, and I didn't want to just be caught up with just like, oh, I just want to be caught up into anime to give me motivation and stuff like that. And so I decided to give me a manga and finally get it a try. So my first one is Fire Punch. Haven't heard anybody talk about it.
Mhm.
And I really did enjoy it. It's definitely the first volume because it leaves you on a big cliffhanger. Um, because it's just so many things that they leave like just unfinished, but yeah, so I definitely recommend it to you all if you haven't heard it and you want to watch something that hasn't been adapted into an anime just yet. So, but yeah, have you been reading anything, Blaze?
Yes. I read a new book every week. Um, I don't know why, but this year I was like, I think it's because toward the end of the year I started listening to more audiobooks, and I used to actually kind of be against audiobooks, like because I have to
Mm,
do something while I'm listening. And so
got
I
you.
was like, you know what? Instead of listening to my playlist when I drive to work every single
Mm,
day, why not, listen to a book? And so that's actually how helped me to read more this year is just reading a new book um each week.
yeah.
And that's like my commute to and from work is just listening
Hmm.
to a book.
Hmm.
But so far this year, I've read some really good books.
Yeah.
In February, I tried to read like just books by Black authors.
Uh-huh.
And one that I really liked was this book called Memphis, which I mean, like us being so close to Memphis, that obviously brought me into it. But
Yeah.
I also learned just more about Memphis through these characters and like these multi-generation of characters, which was pretty cool. Um,
Hmm.
because like I really only know Memphis as it is now. And so to read this book and it'd be like a completely different it was like a completely different place, maybe 30, 40 something years ago. Is
Yeah.
wow.
Hmm. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. That does sound very interesting. It kind of put me in the mindset of just, the discussions around Stax Records and how that was at the time. And I remember during the filming of the documentary that I'm working on, Broadway Joe mentioned something about it's a book. I believe he said he read that talked about there were so many first in Memphis in one year that he felt like that kind of influenced the industries, media industries around it at the time, especially for Black people. Um, so yeah, that does sound interesting, Blaze. But cool. So we getting ready to jump into the real take. The real take again, y'all, is the crisis of classic movies. And so pretty much I was just kind of sitting back and just watching. I think I was on TikTok one day, and one of the creators that gives like light movie reviews but not in depth, we're just talking about the performance of some original films. Like I think Mickey 17 was out at that time, and a couple other things. And basically, I can't remember the creator's name, but was basically talking about how on one end some people claim that they are seemingly almost over the big franchises that just constantly keep on pumping stuff out, and or you get so many sequels or so many remakes and all this stuff like that in one original projects. But sometimes original projects, or at least of lately, they haven't been doing that well, and especially on the box office side. And I know that, especially with all the streaming and stuff like that is going on, and with the pandemic that hit the theaters, you know, I'm pretty sure all those factor into why, you know, what I want to say, to why original films don't do as well. And for those, who are watching and want to, get a better understanding of where I'm coming from, is just like when we think of Drumline, for instance, when we think of Friday, which Friday ended up building into a franchise, when
Mm-hmm.
we think of Castaway, when we think of Saving Private Ryan, um, Star Wars technically, from my understanding, was original, but of course it's an extremely huge franchise by now. But we have all these different type of things that we consider classics, or lightly read when it came to, well known in some novels or whatever like that as well, and turn into what I would consider classics. But original projects have just not been doing that well. There's an article on YouTube on Yahoo that came out back in January, and it said that not a single original film broke the box office top 15 in 2024. And
Oh, wow.
so yeah, so it was pretty much mostly franchises and sequels that dominated. And the main ones was Inside Out 2 and Deadpool. Um and they were saying the only movie that could be considered as an original project that wasn't a franchise or a sequel was Wicked, but as we all know, that was based off a Broadway play or
Which was
Broadway
based off a
play.
book.
Exactly, and so um it just seems that the industry is heavily considering nowadays stuff that may seem more guaranteed on a bigger budget scale as opposed to taking a chance on a smaller film at times and
Mhm.
seeing what is able to be happen. And so I guess in your opinion, Blaze, as we get into this conversation, like, do you feel that original films still have a place in a traditional theater setting and being able to go up in the be able to participate in the box office, or just being able to go on a theater run, or do you feel a theatrical run, or do you feel that it may be best for most original films to start being considered on a streaming platform, so to speak?
Oh, that's actually a tough question because I've been seeing a lot of things lately as well about what movie theaters can do to bring people back to the movie theaters.
Hmm.
And I feel like that question kind of goes hand in hand with, or even like this topic as a whole goes hand in hand with the state of movie theaters. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if the problem is necessarily like the movies that are being created, or if it's the industry of movie theaters. Like where did it like start going down? Where did it
Right.
start failing? Of course people are talking about ticket prices and things like that, which I think is a good point.
Yeah.
But no, that is a good point because when you think about things like the bottom line, if
Hmm.
if I'm like an exec of a movie studio, I know for a fact that doing a new Captain America movie is gonna get me some money. So
Yes.
I'm gonna just I would rather put my money into that new Captain America movie instead of something original because the risk is higher now. And so that's why we probably are seeing more original content being placed on streaming platforms, or they do like the independent film festival scenes, and then it eventually comes out on like a streaming platform.
Yeah.
Um, the issue with that is, back to the topic,
Yeah.
it's harder for movies to become classics because they're not being really shown to everyone. Like everybody doesn't have the opportunity to actually digest that film because it's being shown in such a underground type of way. Like you have to go really salt this movie out. Like earlier this
Yeah.
week, or not necessarily this week, it was probably like the end of last week. You were like, "Oh, are we gonna talk about this movie?" And I'm like, "I've heard of this movie, but I heard of it because you mentioned it like on a show, two or so episodes ago." And
Right.
so I was like, "But I don't think this movie is coming out, Corgan." And so I'm doing
Yeah.
my research, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Corgan, this movie is not in any theaters." And I'm like, "Wait, this movie came out last year. When?" You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I get them not being, I get the bottom line, I get that, but at the same time, it's the if you want a movie to become a classic, if you want it to have that longevity, then you kind of have to take that risk. And honestly, I
Yeah.
think people want that. Like, we tired of the same thing.
Yeah, and that kind of like what you said as far as like seeing things, cause and Freaky Tales is the project, y'all. We we was planning on checking out Freaky Tales, and it's not even in Arkansas. Uh yeah, that kind of goes to my other point too, because it's like what does a classic in my opinion is a film that does something as far as the experience in theaters or wherever and gives you a memorable experience or a line or whatever that you easily relate to, or you cannot believe that you saw that and you
Mhm.
want to keep seeing it. I feel like that's how a lot of thrillers and horror films are easily able to become classics because
Mhm.
of that. But at the same time, I do feel like nowadays, I feel like at one point it was starting to become the same thing. It's always a child or an adult that's possessed. And okay,
Mhm.
then you got to figure out, and then it may be a dark ending to it. Because I feel like for
Mhm.
a while we was getting a lot of back to back, like basically somebody being possessed,
Yeah.
and I feel that that's
And you
what
know what movie that did that? That caused that influx? The Conjuring.
true. Yeah, The Conjuring.
Conjuring and Insidious.
Hmm.
Because honestly,
Yeah,
I thought Insidious was gonna stop at that first one. Then I was like, wait, they got a second one? They got like, why
yeah,
are we doing more and more and more? And then now you're starting to see all these movies about somebody being possessed, or
yeah,
all the exorcism movies come back. And I'm like, sheesh, we just saw an exorcism movie. No,
yeah.
I really remember one year it was like January and two exorcism movies had came out. And I was like, one, why are y'all coming out in January? And two, why do we need both of these movies?
Exactly, exactly. And just like Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
just like what was the other film that I saw that I thought about? Oh, well, not even that, but I feel that those type of projects that just kept on happening opened up the great opportunity for Jordan Peele to come out with Get Out.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like how that became an instant classic is
Mm-hmm.
again, it was easy for a lot of people to relate or a specific audience to relate to that project. It created a lot of conversations on social media
Mm-hmm.
and it gave an experience that you have not seen before, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that that's how us possibly domestically did pretty well in theaters. But then I think that Nope really did a great. I mean, I really love Nope. Nope is like when it comes to thrillers, I really like that because it's something that I literally would have not thought of when it came to thriller or a horror experience. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's almost one of those things. I feel like the industry is almost challenging writers, especially feature film
Mm-hmm.
writers, to think more broadly or just really expand their minds on their imagination of what a film can be. And until that happens, they want to stick to this safe space, because another thing with Get Out, just to kind of go back, one is Drumline. Drumline's budget was $20 million, and they ended up having a gross 56 million. And so it actually was a success. And again, we had not seen HBCUs represented in a film the way that this was done. Of course, you have school days as well, but in this manner, when it comes to music, which brings a lot of people together, that was, a really great idea that was produced to
Mhm.
to create, and everybody did so well, and so, like you said, it's one of those things of a business approach to things, to where do filmmakers see themselves in the future? Should they only be going to streaming platforms, or should they continue to try to desire to be in the theaters? Because the way things are going, and it seems like on the superhero side, we're going to get a lot more projects coming soon.
Mhm.
And it's like, do you think, in your opinion, do you think audience really desire, are they just tired of superhero films and some franchises that we just been seeing for a while to keep on expanding? Are they truly tired of that, and they want an original film, or they just want something different? What do you think?
Oh, I think they definitely want something different. And on like the topic of superheroes, like if we look at Marvel specifically,
Yeah.
they did such a great job ending with Endgame.
Hmm.
And I feel like that was like a nice storybook ending for everybody. And so as they started inking out things for the next phase,
Hmm.
y'all set the bar so high that every time a movie does not meet that bar for people, like their interest in it decreases, and it decreases more and more and more.
Yeah.
Your casual fans are gonna always be there, and they're gonna continue to
Hmm.
watch. But like
Hmm.
now, they gave us Endgame gave us a movie that was beyond just a superhero movie,
Yes.
and so people do want more. They don't
Hmm.
want just superhero movies. They want something else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what really is very intriguing right now is that, as the feature film world trying to kind of find out what's next, what's really going to get people to theaters, all the stuff like that. I feel that what really has put pressure on that, and almost in a sense make theaters want to, I mean, make studios want to stay in a safe place of big budget films, is that if long as some of these theaters have a stake in the television world, I feel like that's their escape, because I feel that's exactly why television, I feel like, it's gotten so popular now,
Mhm.
is because we're able to lock into a moment or seasons and get that same experience that I feel like a lot of us, especially millennials, like grew up with and had that experience. And because, I mean, just think about how big Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal was
Mhm.
for television. It was huge, and we have, what I want to say, we have, gosh, what TV shows do we have now? Oh, and reality television has definitely has made a big impact within it as well, you
Mhm.
know. And I was looking back at this article earlier, and they said they did a study. It was a survey commissioned by Tubi. They did a survey, and found that 74% of millennials and Gen Z respondents preferred originals to remakes.
Mhm.
But I think it's one of those things, like you said. I think consumers of film and movies that enjoy that, they want that. But I also feel like, as viewers, we got to accept the fact that we also, especially with us spending money and how expensive it is to go to a theater versus,
Mhm.
having a streaming service and wait for that, is that we also want to have a higher guarantee that we know we're gonna like the movie.
Exactly. And you know, I think I think remakes are a cop out for studios because they like, oh, well, people already like the original, so like let's just redo it. But why?
Yeah,
We like the original. And if you're not going to do anything, if
different.
you're not going to have a different take, something special, something that's going to wow us, there's no reason to do another one. You know, like one of my favorite movies is slasher films is I know what you did last summer. They
Mhm.
just started releasing the promo pics for the remake that's coming out later this year, which is crazy because they literally just ended the filming for it like a month ago, and it's coming out in July, I think, of this year. But
Yeah,
I mean, I like some of the actors that are going to be in the remake, so obviously I'm gonna go watch it. And some of the old cast members are going to be back, but if it's following the same plot line as the first movie, why do we need a new one?
yeah. Well, like that, it will be the thing of, well, we know that I think it's playing off of nostalgia. I feel
It
like
is.
there's there's some there's some deeper piece of nostalgia that we as a people, I think, don't realize and cherish way more than we realize.
Mhm.
And I honestly feel like with everything that's going on, I wonder if the psyche is, well, if we can give them a nostalgic experience, and a lot of these people that grew up, say even with Disney films or wherever like that they can bring their kids together and they can share this moment and have this together, that we'll get that. And I don't knock live actions of the projects. I just think that what has kind of made it maybe difficult to really make some of them stick, in my personal opinion, is that no live action is ever like the same. You know,
Mhm.
so say for instance, the Jungle Book, a lot of people, seem to like it, way more than I thought people did. But when it came to like the music that was known in Jungle Book, it wasn't that much in there, as the original project. And I feel like to a certain degree they kind of made it, but I can also see the take on the fact that there was kind of some heaviness, well, not kind of, it's some heaviness to the actual plot, to where I could see how if you wanted to bring the kids, to make it safe for the kids, make it a PG, but then also serious enough or realistic enough for the adults to still enjoy it, I can see how that turned out a little bit differently for folks.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, like it's just very interesting how it was. And then I also feel like it's becoming a thing of like it's going on and on and on, because on IMDb it has a list of the 50 highest grossing non franchise movies of all time. And by release date, the most recent one. You want to know which one that is?
I mean, I'm looking at
What year? Well, what year it came out?
yeah.
2016. The Secret Life of
Mhm.
Pets.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what?
2016, and that was ranked number 5 out of
But
50.
pause on that because looking at this list, there's a lot of kids' movies. And it
Yep.
got me to thinking, why is kid content, they get more original stuff
Yeah.
than adult or, live action stuff. Like
Mhm.
this stuff that's on this kid content or this stuff that's on this list that's kid content is all very original. Like none of them really have the same plot at all.
Yeah.
And
True.
very unique for a kids movie. Why are we
Very.
getting that? Why are kids getting that, but like us adults cannot?
I feel like that just shows that I feel, again, that's why I kind of said I think we claim that we want more, but when it comes down to it, especially us paying our own money, but are we truly showing up to the theaters to really come through on what we want? Like we may want more, but are we okay with taking a chance on something that we don't know the outcome of? Like going, no matter if you like every single Marvel film or whatever the case may be, you may not like everyone, but you probably done seen all of them. And that's just because at the end of the day, you know what's going on, you know what to expect, and either it's going to reach your expectations or it's not going to be that good, as opposed to Zootopia, as opposed to any of these other things, unless it's your kids that you want to get them to go see something for.
Mhm.
Kids don't know what they don't know. It's only what's attractive to their eyes, because like you said, like number one is Titanic, number two, Frozen, number three, Zootopia. Number four is the live action of the Jungle Book. Number five, like I mentioned earlier, The Secret Life of Pets. Number six is Inside Out. And then number nine is the live action Maleficent, and number 10 is Up. And then when we start getting into the like ones that really I feel like are, the classics, you have Gravity, that's number 11. You have Forrest Gump, that's number 12. Interstellar, The Martian, which I'm very surprised about that, but what I can remember is a pretty good film. Hancock, let me see here. Mamma Mia, that's number 19 out of 50. Tangled is 21. I Am Legend, King Kong, which I feel like that was a really good film at the time that it came out. It's crazy. It's 3 hours long. Wow. American Sniper, Day After Tomorrow, you know. So yeah, like you said, I think this proves to a certain degree that, we say that we want certain things, but then are we willing to show up to the box office and give it a
Mhm.
try, or have we became spoiled with um how we became spoiled with the streaming platform and knowing like, I don't know, let's just wait and
Oh,
see.
definitely. Definitely. Especially since now, and it's probably our fault. So many movies, they'll come out and 2 weeks later they on the streaming platform. Like you can watch it on Amazon for rent.
True.
But like I said, that's probably our fault for waiting so long. Where now movie theaters are like, well, we might as well not keep it for so long because they're not coming to see it. I
Exactly.
mean, I won't lie, I'm guilty of that.
Yeah. And I can be too, which I also wonder, does just the economy alone also play a part in that? As in, back in the day, you can go to the movie theaters, go see something between $5 to $7.
Right.
But nowadays, in order to get something close to the amount, unless you're going, during the daytime matinee, you're gonna be spending, especially if you're going to somebody else together, y'all spending probably close to almost $30.
Yeah. And that's just on tickets. That ain't even that ain't
They
even
on the
getting
snacks.
snacks and stuff.
Exactly. And so I went back in, Blaze, to go at the release dates.
Hmm.
So number 39 is Pretty Woman. This just tripped out. Let's see how far it goes until we get to like a children's project. So 39, Pretty Woman, Ghost, Dances with Wolves, Beauty and the Beast. That's the animated film. So,
Hmm.
but it's ranked at 49, and it came out in 1991.
Hmm.
And so you keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. The next one up is 2007, and that's Ratatouille, and that's rated at number 17 of all time.
Yeah.
Sorry if y'all heard that, man. These folks get excited with their dang vehicles outside. But yeah, you have Ratatouille. Um, it's just why. And then you start getting into Wally, Up, Tangled, stuff like that. So I think we kind of answered our questions. It's almost kind of like has is the best formula on the business side, which I'm not saying that I agree with at all, especially as a filmmaker. Because please, if I come with an opportunity with an idea, please put my film in theaters.
Mhm.
But like, I wonder if we as adults are starting to desire and enjoy television series way more. And then with the streaming service coming at that right peak time of television, it really kept us inside more than we realized and made us more comfortable. And maybe now we just desire experience in theaters that we didn't realize, and therefore that's why we get what we get more often. Which
Mhm.
I do enjoy. I'm not gonna knock it. I enjoy franchises. Is that builds up. Harry Potter is based off a book or adapted from a book. But I mean, those experiences from Harry Potter to Avengers, like you said earlier, Blaze, like I mean, it was a great ending to it and we had a lot of fun, you know. So, but yeah, so overall, Blaze, do what do you think would possibly change this, or do you feel like this is probably, you know, where we are today when it comes to where we are, where we look at when it comes to classics?
I mean,
Or let me back that up. Do you feel like at this point now classics have an do films have an opportunity to be classics at this day and time?
if like the studios are strategic about it, then yes. But
Mhm.
also, if that's their vision, like do they have the vision to make a movie that's timeless, or do they have a vision that's just gonna make them a lot of money? Th-
True.
that is kind of like the foundation for this crisis. And I think right now we're in the state of they're making movies to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a business, and it's what I want to say, it's supported by the arts, but at the end of the day, yeah, it's a business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. Um, I just say, you know, thank God for streaming platforms, for independent projects, like we said, that may go through the film festival market, and basically get picked up that way. Because excuse me, is definitely, I feel like it's definitely difficult nowadays, and but I would love for studios to continue to give independent projects a try, because classics, it just gives so, I mean, the setup and you saying certain things that people know what you're talking about and all this stuff like that, you know, especially Rush Hour. I mean, Rush Hour is definitely up there, you know, when it comes to all of the different like lines that people remember and everything like that. And I think that's what makes classics make film special. Nothing against like things that grow into franchises, um, but just being able to give that one and off experience at times, is a great experience. You know, it really is. So I got another question for you, Blaze. Well, actually, you got to answer something. I hope you're ready. All right.
They're ready.
I want you to name a classic comedy, film, thriller or horror, and a drama.
Okay.
What would
They
be
can't
your?
be they
And
can't be
I say
franchise.
drama. Yeah, go ahead. What'd you say?
They can't be franchise movies.
Um, you can you like you can have that as an honorable mention if it franchise later on. How about that?
Mhm. So these have to be my favorite, or just like I'm naming one.
Your favorite?
Oh, well, dang, that makes it harder.
Eh,
Because it may not necessarily be like my favorite movie, but maybe I like it because it became a classic to like the community, if that makes sense.
of course, of
Mm.
course.
So let's see. You said a drama.
Yeah.
I think this movie is considered a drama.
Mhm.
Um, it's not necessarily my favorite movie,
That's fine.
but I will watch it if it's on. I think it's considered a drama. ATL.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if you name a line from ATL, somebody gonna know exactly what movie you talking about, you know?
Most def most definitely. Most
You know, if
definitely.
I act like I'm snatching something off your neck, ATL. Yeah. If you hear somebody say new ATL. Um, comedy.
Yeah.
Oh, comedy is actually easy. At first, I thought it was gonna be hard. Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Mm. Oh God.
That is a classic. Like my daddy is probably the toughest critic, but he loves that movie. He can quote that movie probably word for word. That movie is a classic to everybody, but especially in my household.
Oh my gosh. Oh, what dang, what did he used to say? If you're not first, you're
If you're not
last.
first, you're last.
Oh
And then his
man.
daddy was like, "What?" I was probably high when I said that. You can be second, you can be third, you can be fourth.
Oh man.
Okay, and then you said a psychological or thriller.
Yeah.
Oh, that was tough. Psychological or thriller. But it has to be a classic.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about this one.
Mm. Now I will give you a pass because a lot of them, like we was talking about, end up turning into franchises. So if it did turn into a
Exactly.
franchise, it's okay.
I mean, well, that's more horror, maybe. 'Cause I was gonna say like Scream, but I think that's more horror.
Mhm.
For as many thrillers as I watch, you would think I could name something. The only thing that's coming to my mind is Gone Girl.
Hmm. You consider that that's in that area?
Is it not a thriller?
I
It's
wouldn't
a
think so.
psychological.
I can see that.
Yeah,
It's
it's
almost like a
psychological.
mystery, like a drama mystery to me.
Yeah. Like, what would you consider a thriller?
Um, I Paranormal Activity.
Okay.
That's like the last, even though people don't even talk about it to this day, and I feel like it kind of got drowned out. Um, with all the other different type of similar projects over time, but that's one that comes to mind. I mean, and it could be like thriller or horror, like just in that space.
Well, then I'll go with Scream.
Scream, yeah. I
Mhm.
figured you were gonna do that. That's why I said like if you want to do a franchise, it's cool. It's cool. Oh man. So, but yeah, yeah,
What
man.
about you?
What about
What's your
me?
three? Mm-hmm.
I'd say, let
See,
me.
you didn't think I was gonna turn the gun around.
Oh man, let me see. Gosh, I would say comedy, a one-off comedy. It's not like super big. I feel like I was gonna think of something else. It's not super big, but Johnson Family Vacation was good. Oh, you know what? I'll do Waterboy. Waterboy.
Classic for sure.
Yeah. So those two. Um, as far as thriller, like I mentioned, Paranormal Activity.
Mm.
Um,
Drama.
but I think thriller, man. I mean, I would definitely say I feel like it's something else that I've seen. I would probably say Get Out.
Okay.
Get Out is up there between that and Nope, but I don't know if people really consider Nope a classic. Um, but
No,
yeah, that one.
not yet.
And then a drama. Is that the other one?
Yeah,
Now I got a long catalog in that
right.
one. I would definitely say that Lean on Me, just because I recently saw it, is
That's a good one.
is a good drama. That I like. Oh, you know what? Pause. Pursuit of Happiness.
Oh yes, that's my favorite Will Smith movie.
Yeah. Oh, really? It's mine too. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pursuit of Happiness, definitely, man. That's
See, that one I can actually rewatch and make it through, not be too sad. Seven
yeah.
pounds? Nah,
Yeah.
that's too heavy. It's a great movie. It's one of his best movies. He probably should have won an Academy Award for it, but I can't
Def
watch that one again. It's too heavy.
yeah. That one is definitely up there. I really do like and like Will has so many, man. Maybe
Right.
that's the only thing he hasn't done is maybe like a thriller as well, besides like biopics and stuff. Because
Yeah.
uh Hitch is a
Mhm.
good comedy. That's funny to me. More
Yeah.
on a
That's a
romantic
classic too.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Like, I feel like just to add to this topic,
Hmm.
Will Smith is a perfect example of a person who has several classic movies.
True.
We don't, movie stars don't really have that today.
No, no. Yeah, I mean, because I could have said I Am Legend, uh,
Mm-hmm. I Robot.
I Robot. That I Robot was ahead of its time. I mean,
No, seriously, it was. It
um,
was.
man,
They did not know. They saw the future when they did that movie.
yes, and it's
We
crazy.
should have listened.
I think those faces are actually almost similar to the ones that they have been using on some of these other robots recently too.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Oh man, yeah, but like I Am Legend, you know, well, it's not a well, one thing I know he doesn't like it, and I know it's corny, but to me, Wild Wild West is a classic.
It is a classic. It is.
You
I was
know,
watching Abbott Elementary, and I want to say either episode open or it closed with them doing the Wild Wild West dance. So it's
oh
definitely a classic.
yeah, man, yeah, man, that's really good. That's really good, man. Classics, you can't. It's just that's why I really hope that I mean, if it is streaming platforms, then of course, to a certain degree, fine. Especially if it's not going to hinder the hinders filmmakers' future plans and everything like that. But but yeah, I just thought it was just very interesting when that um uh TikTok video that I saw, like when it was talking about that. I was like, man, it's very interesting. But I just think that even when you go and you watch the Screen Actors Guild Awards and then just other platforms, just streaming platforms in general, that's putting out these different shows, man, the television is really leaning heavy into the original content. Even I mean, from to them,
Mhm.
to so many different projects that you just never would have thought you would come across.
I got
Um,
a peek into like all the different shows that Apple Plus or yeah, Apple Plus, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
That they offer, and I didn't realize they were offering so much original content. Cause you
Yeah,
know how I am. If I don't have that platform, I don't watch that trailer.
right.
But
Yeah.
like I hear about shows here and there. Like I've heard about Ted Lasso and the morning show and stuff. But like to
Hmm.
just see all the lists and I'm like, oh, and then like to see the actors that are in these things, I'm like, oh,
Big,
y'all paying money, y'all spending money.
big money. Big money. Big, big
Big
money.
money.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can't remember the name of the show, but it's one I want checked out that recently came out, and it's basically gosh, I forgot what it's about, but I mean what it's called, but it's about a guy that we seen in, I think his name is Seth Rogen. He is playing a new appointed
Oh, the
studio
studio.
exec.
The
Yeah,
studio.
okay. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that's something that I want to see. I heard is pretty good and stuff. But again, it's just a, not only you seeing these original things, but you're able to constantly keep on getting drawn into that. And, maybe that's just where we're at. Growing up, I know movies were a huge thing. I think that's why actors like Will Smith and everything like that was so successful and did well. Cause I mean, from him to Leonardo DiCaprio, Whoopi Goldberg,
Denzel.
Denzel, like so many of those projects, from definitely 80s, of course, but like 90s all the way to early 2000s, they were able to be so successful because, they were just pumping it out. I mean, Independence Day, that,
Mhm.
oh man,
Yeah.
that's just now that's another film that I really wore out when growing up, man. Independence Day, shoot, man, it was really good, man. So, well, cool. Well, cool. Well, thanks for taking me on well, hopping on this ride with me, Blaze. This thought came to mind, and I know we're getting ready to prepare to check out Sinners. I know Sinners is gonna be in Arkansas. We're gonna watch Sinners, okay?
Don't be here. I think you'll be
Sinners
here.
is gonna be here, so we gonna be there to check it out. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so thank y'all again for tuning in. And thank y'all for continuing to support us. And we hope that y'all continue to have a good morning, noon, or night, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.